So after JJK 268, what the hell is going on with Tengen? We're going to talk about that and several other questions from you guys, so strap in, but spoilers beware. All right, so first up today, we got this from Sam who says, is Tengen truly gone? And let me address that before we move on to the other part of the question. And short answer is we don't know. Mostly because this Tengen situation is extremely weird and we don't know what the rules of operation are here. Because just to recap, right, Tengen was a human sorcerer whose curse technique basically caused them to evolve beyond humanity. They started having traits of cursed spirits, right, which let Kenjaku absorb them with cursed spirit manipulation, Geto's curse technique. So, in that sense, Tengen was now effectively a cursed spirit within Kenjaku's control. And as we know, with Geto and Kenjaku, when they are killed, all of the cursed spirits in their arsenal, if you will, are released. Like we saw this when Yuta killed Kenjaku. All of the cursed spirits came rushing out. Rika and Yuta had to deal with them, right? So presumably those cursed spirits are still alive in some form or fashion because they get re-released with their own agency. Now, Tengen not truly being a cursed spirit and being a human, do those same rules apply? We don't know, right? But even on top of that, Tengen was shunted away from Kenjaku before Kenjaku died and given to Sukuna. And Sukuna consumed Tengen. And Sukuna is not a cursed spirit manipulation wielder, right? So those same rules may not even be in place anymore. Now, clearly Tengen just didn't straight up die when Sukuna ate them because they needed Tengen to start the merger. So and using the word alive is just going to be really weird here because I don't think Tengen exists in the same form that they did back when they were like a normal sorcerer and alive before they were absorbed. I don't know what to call their current state of existence, but I would say that that's still what they're in, but just were consumed by Sukuna waiting for the merger to start, right? They clearly have no agency of their own anymore. Now, when Sukuna was killed, let's call it stripped away from Megami, it's not as if Tengen would necessarily get released in the same way that cursed spirits do with cursed spirit manipulation, because again, one, Sukuna is not a cursed spirit manipulation wielder, but two, he's technically not even the one that ate Tengen, right? Megami is, because Sukuna was piloting Megami's body. So you see, we're getting deep here. So for my money, in whatever form Tengen currently exists in, they still exist in Megami. Now, what that means, I don't know. Can they do anything about it? I don't know, but that would be my best guess. Now, we did effectively kind of jump cut away from the Sukuna fight to the post-fight time skip scene, whenever that was, right? So it's at least possible that something did happen with Tengen that we just weren't privy to yet. Maybe we'll find out in the next 3 chapters. Maybe not. If it's never mentioned at all, then I would assume that Tengen was just still in Megami and then not truly gone. But this is getting so long-winded, so I'll leave it there for now. But, in the hypothetical case that Tengen was gone, you say, will we start to see cursed spirits and cursed technique users start appearing all over the world again? And for anybody who's unclear on what that's referring to, is these barriers that Tengen set up around Japan, the foundational barriers for Jujutsu society. They are what keep cursed energy, for the most part, maintained in Japan, which means that's why they're the only ones with sorcerers and they're the only ones with cursed spirits. So with Tengen dead, hypothetically, would that all go to waste? I don't think so. Yes, Tengen did create them, and yes, Tengen did maintain them, but I don't think just because Tengen gets offed that those barriers just evaporate. I think they would still exist, especially due to all of the care and importance that have been placed on them. That's one of the reasons Kenjaku interwove the culling games with those barriers in order to make sure that it wouldn't be destroyed, right? Which makes me think, if Tengen dying destroys them, then that would ruin everything. So, no, I don't think they would just disappear, but I will say, considering Tengen had to maintain them, if care isn't taken to maintain them from here on out, then they may fall. But yeah, okay, way long-winded. We're just going to end it there. I hope that helps, and maybe we'll find out more in these last 3 chapters. And speaking of how few chapters we have left, Brandwin says, how do you think they're going to be able to wrap up all the plot threads with only what we've got left? And simply put, they're not going to be able to, right? Especially if we consider what exactly is a plot thread, because I'm sure everyone, myself included, is going to end this series with a lot of questions still left unanswered, right? A lot of setups with no punchline. And once the series does end, maybe that's something I'll make a video on, here are the most interesting things I wish we had gotten more information on or something like that. But it's inevitable, right? So anyone that's expecting every little thing that they are hoping to be answered get answered in these last 3 chapters is going to be disappointed. Next up, Jack asks if I think it's possible for Mahito to nullify a heavenly restriction like Maki or Toji's in the same way he did with Mekamaru's. And honestly, yes. Now, this is contentious, and I've actually talked about this in a couple videos before, but I think it's probably lost in just a random question video, so I don't know if you'd be able to find it that easily, but from my understanding, Idle Transfiguration has some crazy potential. And just like we saw with Mekamaru, like you mentioned, I do think if Mahito understood like brain chemistry and human physiology enough, then he could change somebody like Maki or Toji's soul to grant them access to cursed energy and even give them a curse technique if he understood how to do that. Now, as we saw him in the show, I don't think he knew how to do that. So I don't think like Mahito from the show would have done that, but I do think it would be theoretically possible, if that makes sense. Next up, Dipfish says, yo, been a fan since back when you were saying your last account got deleted. Epic growth. My God, you've been with me since damn near the beginning then. Thank you so much, man. And he says, anyways, I tried my hand at making a JJK battle fic about Prime Yuta versus Prime Megami versus Sukuna, if you'd like to give some feedback and thoughts. And yeah, man, if you want to like link it to me in this comment chain, I will definitely check it out when I get the time, but I can't make any promises that it'll be too soon. I got a lot on my plate right now, but I'd love to check it out. And actually, on that note, if you are just wanting to share it and you're not in the Discord, that would be a great place to do so, because I'm sure there's some other people there that would love to read it as well. Next up, Slick Rick says, I don't know if you saw, but Adam MacArthur, the voice actor for Yuji, kind of called out John Weary on Twitter. And a bunch of people then got mad at him, at Adam. And I actually did see this. I quote tweeted it and called him a legend. And I understand, like, to some extent, a level of decorum for the voice actor. Like, you know, he's kind of part of the extended family in a way, so some people are kind of mad that he would call out John Weary, but you guys know how I feel about John Weary. If you're gonna mess up your job that badly, then yeah, you shouldn't just be free from criticism. So yeah, I think Adam's a legend. And actually, just to be clear, for those of you that didn't see it, this is all Adam did. He just sent out a tweet that said John Weary, and it included this screenshot of Yuji saying, I see, I don't get it. So it's not as if he said, like, let's fire this man or anything. He's just kind of poking fun with the community. Next up, Yukio says, genuine question, how come people are not happy just reading JJK and seeing the story reach its conclusion, respecting what Gege wished to do for the story? And, you know, people are just going to have their opinions. And again, I really don't want to come off like I'm saying my opinion's right and you had to have liked the ending, because of course not. You are totally welcome to your opinion, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, art is subjective at the end of the day. Where I draw a problem with people is when they just start getting toxic and telling other people that, like, no, you're wrong, it is bad, and you're an idiot for thinking it's good. And I promise you, I have had my comment sections filled with stuff like that. Someone even called me a shill recently because I liked it. But yeah, I mean, to each their own, honestly, Yukio. Some people, it's just not going to be for them, and that's fine. But yeah, when you have to be toxic about it, that's when it's like, go touch grass. Next up, Crispy says, I have a theory that Gege didn't want his ending to be overshadowed by Hunter x Hunter coming back and decided to wrap it up faster than needed. Or maybe Jump convinced him to, so people weren't distracted by JJK when Hunter x Hunter came back. And honestly, you know, I love a good conspiracy. That would be juicy, but I wouldn't put much weight in this because I just don't think that would be the case from either perspective. From Gege's perspective, you know, he was sick a while back. You know, who knows how his health is. Maybe he did want to wrap things up sooner than later. But we know that Gege has had the ending in mind for JJK for a very long time. This isn't something that he just threw together. In addition to that, we know that even in 2022, at Jump Fest, he said JJK will end this year, meaning in 2023. It clearly didn't, but then in 2023, he then said JJK will end next year, aka in 2024. So this is something that he's known has been coming for a while, and he has been orchestrating to this point. Now, could you again argue that maybe some aspects of it are rushed due to his health or whatever? Possibly. But at the end of the day, we know that he's been eyeing the ending for a long time, and that he also has plotted the ending for a long time. So I don't think he decided to change any of his own plans because of Hunter x Hunter. And I also don't think Shonen Jump would have pressured him, because JJK is a massive cash cow. Like, it's one of the most popular manga in ever, really, in terms of, like, you know, modern success. So I highly doubt that they would be trying to push him out the door either. Anyways, y'all, that's all for this one. And I still do have more questions, so don't worry if you sent one that I haven't gotten to yet. I just figured since we have a break week, I'm kind of chopping it up a little bit. But anyways, y'all, thank you so much for the support and thank you for watching.